¿Qué pasa? Welcome back to another solo leveling video on my channel. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about Baek Yoonho. And yeah, what can I say? He's actually one of the characters who has a incredible, yeah, synergy, I would just say, with Cha and Minho. Like those three in a trio, farming Arcanite, the giant spider for the Encore missions has never been easier. With him as one of the best breakers in the game and one of the best support, aka sub damage dealers in terms of light attribute hunters in the game. So let's split him up and let's talk about his artifacts build guide and team builds, optimal team builds, skill sets, priorities, and his best weapons. Now, in terms of artifacts, there is again two sets which you could actually go for. One would be the armor set and the solid analysis set, and the second one would be the toughness set. However, I would always generally advise to go for the solid analysis set because the main objective of using Baek Yoonho in your team is for him to act as either a sub damage dealer or alongside as a breaker. And in order to increase his break efficiency, the solid analysis is actually the best because this one increases the user's damage dealt to enemies in the break state, increases by 15%, and the foreset effect is when attacking enemies that have elemental weakness, the break effect increases by 30%. Using him for farming Arcanite with this set is incredible. Trust me on that one, you will thank me later. Right, the toughness set, which comes with the critical hit rate increase and the critical hit damage increase, is also somewhat useful. However, there is different use cases for that. I would specifically use a kit like that for him only when you're trying to go for like an event character sort of team build, right? But generally, you always want to go with the solid analysis. As for his jewelry set, you always want to try and go with the executioner set because this one gives you again when attacking enemies with 40% or less HP, increases the user's damage dealt by 8%, and the 4-piece set effect. So the HP condition changes to 70% and the damage increase effect increases to 20%. This is the go-to set for him again because this one will do the maximum of or help with a maximum of damage being dealt to the characters where he's supposed to deal the damage to in terms of his main role as a breaker. Now, the other alternative you could be choosing is again the concentration of firepower because this one increases the skill MP consumption rate by 20% but increases the damage dealt by 5% and decreases the basic skill cooldown by 5%, which is awesome because this will make him deal more damage and increase the cooldown. However, he will be requiring a bit more MP, so yeah, it has its downside, right? The 4-piece effect increases the damage effect to 18% and the cooldown reduction effect of basic skill to 18%. So if you're running him with Min, for example, this wouldn't be too much of a problem because Min actually helps recover faster. But yeah, that's another topic in terms of running that set. Again, that set is specifically for different opponents if you're running, for example, on a battlefield of trials against a specific character. Now, the go-to weapons for Baek would be definitely, apart from his personal his signature weapon, which is the suppressed white tiger soul. This one is actually very good because it increases obviously the light damage by 4% and also when attacking targets with white flames effect increases the user's defense by 5% for 20% for 20 seconds. So it's actually more leans towards him being a tank whilst dealing more damage, right? Optimal and even more optimal is actually the steel axe because his main damage is being done through his core attack. This one will increase his core attack damage by 20% if you're looking for a pure damage dealer. Apart from that, the steel dagger, which increases his basic attack damage by 14%, is also a go-to weapon for him. Now, in terms of his main stats you want to be going for, you want to try and go for his helmet, either always for defense or you want to try and go for attack. That's also somewhat. But the thing about him is when you look at his skills actually scale from defense, right? So that's why you always want to try and scale off defense. Hence, the main stat you always want to be choosing on for the helmet is defense. For the boots, you want to try and get his critical hit damage up. His bracelet, try and have him increase the light damage percentage. And the ring, putting on the defense, again, the focus. As for substats, always try to go for defense, light damage increase, and critical hit rate. Those are the substats you always want to be trying to go for him. Now, if you're looking for skill level priority, his main priority should be his core attack. His core attack is his main bread and butter because this one will be dealing weak break damage, especially if you have the axe equipped. This one will actually do a lot more damage. Second, you should be focusing on his basic attack because his basic attack is very fast, actually one of the fastest in the game, and this one also deals break damage, making him actually one of the best breakers in the game because it's one of the few characters who has actually break damage on his basic attacks. Next up, you could be going for his White Flame Gale Kick because this one will increase heavy break damage. However, the MP consumption is quite high. For his Ferocious Spirit, this one is also a possible choice to go for. However, I would be going for the White Flame Gale Kick, right? Apart from that, going for his support skill is always a good option, and his QTE skill. His ultimate isn't that much of a special need for him to have increased, but the positive thing about this one is it will decrease the defense of the opponent by 20%, duration 10 seconds. So that's definitely one of his let's say best argumentations to actually put a bit of points in his ultimate. Now, hands down, this team, pure light team, is actually the best team composition you could be running. Like, this team is meta breaking because you have the best supporter in the game, you have the best damage dealer in the game, and you have one of the best breakers in the game who also has one of the fastest or the fastest basic attacks in the entire game, and he will actually do crazy amount of break damage with his basic attacks, right? Apart from that, you could also be running different team composition. For example, you could be running, instead of Min, you could be running an all-rounder, someone like Ju Jin-Hoo. He's definitely one of an all-rounder. And on second spot, you could be running Alicia. You could also opt in to run someone like Choi Jong-in as main damage dealer / sub damage dealer. That is also an alternative. However, the best one is definitely Cha. You want to be running Cha, Min, Cha, and Baek. This team, hands down, is the best option to go for. So that's everything there is to say about Baek Yoonho. He is hands down the best breaker in the game. For any boss needing to be broken, he should always be picked. Like, he is most of the time the go-to character if you're looking for a solid breaker, right? All of his skills, from his basic attack skills to his support skills, all break. As his whole kit also scales of defense, like, it's literally hard to get him killed. So that's another thing. He has very high survivability. His damage is still good enough considering how quickly he breaks, right? So overall, again, he's a jack of all trades. Definitely one of the top tier characters, S+ if you want to rate him in a tier list. And with that being said, thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. Until next time.